hear you're ready for your dose of reality. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the next episode here of the Dr. Quack podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. And you know, we've been giving a lot of advice to the promo artists, to the Voices of Honor, about how to become better promo artists. Well, we spent a lot of time in the wrestling business. We got a lot of knowledge to pass on. So we're going to start a new series here about Dear Independent Wrestling. This is Volume 1. We're going to talk about being properly trained and how you receive proper training.
Yeah, we don't claim to know everything, but we have our advice for this because we get tired of seeing on social media, bad booking, bad advertising, and we also get tired of seeing backyarders. And this right here is dedicated right now to the backyarders so that we can get them to proper wrestling schools.
Now we want to explain the difference between what we consider backyarders and other terms of backyarders. There's nothing wrong with you wrestling in the backyard with your friends and making little title belts amongst yourself and keeping it amongst your friends on your neighborhood. That is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We're talking about those idiots jumping off houses onto tables, trying to be like Mick Foley. We're talking about those guys that wrap themselves in barbed wire and they have people pay $10 to sit in their yard to watch them bleed all over everything. Those are the people we're focusing it on when we say backyarders.
That's right. I mean, the best thing that I can tell people for this is go to a good wrestling school. Now, look, there's a lot of guys out there that have been training people, that have been nowhere, have been in one part of the region, and they've wrestled 20 years, and they go, here, I'm going to start training students. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's a mixed bag. We're going to be full disclosure here. I'm the very first student of the Necro Butcher and Associates Wrestling School. He had been in the business 2 years, but his intelligence was far and beyond. But I did learn a valuable lesson that I got lucky. Both of us were trained by Necro. We lucked out with a good trainer. But it's not just about name recognition like Larry Sharp's Wrestling Monster Factory. It's not just about getting somebody who is a WWE superstar or WWE Hall of Famer. Do your research. Go to the show. Go to those schools a couple of weeks before. Talk to those people. Talk to people that have dealt with them. Check on the internet. This is the time where the internet is helping wrestling, of saying who's a good trainer, who's a bad trainer, and find out if they're going to work for you. Ivan Putski did nothing for me, but he's helped out other people. So, you've got to find out who's going to be a good match for you, not just go to the Monster Factory because Larry Sharp has put 47 people in the WWE.
Right. I mean, this is something that's important. You must, do your research. It's really important.
Yes, and when we talk about training, everybody needs to go through a wrestling school, even if you don't want to be a wrestler in the ring. Referees, most of the time, are former wrestlers. If you want to be a referee, you got to learn how to take those bumps. You got to learn how to take those punches. You got to learn the psychology of how to help the guys in the ring when they get lost. Managers learn how to bump. Managers learn how to talk and how to focus on the hard cam. The ring crew has to learn how to set up and tear it down timely. Commentary teams and play-by-play guys have to learn how to practice to tell the story while it's actually happening. All of those things go through a wrestling school. So always follow up on what the wrestling school offers you, and is it going to help you in your dream?
Because it's going to show if you don't go to wrestling school and you try to go work as a wrestler and say you've been trained. It's going to show bad, especially if you're working a veteran. I have seen young backyarders try to enter this business, and then they go work a veteran, and then a veteran gives them quite a receipt and makes them realize that they shouldn't be there.
Yes, and to focus on that, there's other things beside a wrestling school that you can do for yourself to help yourself out in wrestling. If you're interested in being a wrestler, cardio, exercise, not weightlifting to where you can't move. Weightlifting is important, but flexibility and cardiovascular endurance are far more important and will take you farther in wrestling than muscles. Chris Masters is a prime example of muscles don't work. But somebody who's in good cardio shape, Ric Flair, somebody who's very flexible, who doesn't get hurt a whole lot. The Miz is a prime example of somebody who focuses on stretching and cardiovascular endurance, and he's got a 20-year career without getting very, very hurt very often.
And also another thing I will tell you before you go to wrestling school is study. Learn your history. Watch old school matches from the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s. Watch them and learn how people work. It's very important because you need to learn how to work in the ring. You also need to learn how to cut a promo. These are very important things.
Yes, a lot of people are down on theater. If you're high school, if you're young and your high school or a community college has a theater program, take some theater classes. You learn how to speak from here, not speak from here, because when you speak from here, your voice cracks during the middle of your promos and you sound horrible. When you speak from here, your voices don't crack, and you also learn stage presence. So theater programs, acting programs, local improvs.
Even karaoke, believe me. Get out in front of people, it takes away from your shyness.
And it also makes you more confident being in front of people, because you have to get in front of people to get used to being in front of people. There's no two ways around it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just go, oh my God, there's so many people, and leave. Because trust me, you won't be back.
Yep, and one last thing I want to go into on wrestling schools, and then I'll let you wrap up with the final thoughts. When you find the wrestling school, you've done your research, you've been working out, you've taken your theater and acting classes, you've gotten used to being in front of people, go into a wrestling school with absolutely zero idea who you are or what you want to be. There's a lot of people that go into wrestling schools going, yep, I'm going to be a luchador and I'm going to be flying off the top rope, and then they stand on the top rope and realize they're afraid of heights.
Yes, it's very important to just go in there and soak it in. Would you like to tell us a couple of wrestling schools you would recommend?
Let's see. I do recommend, if you live out in the Northeast, do contact Larry Sharp. He is a very reputable trainer. We have met with Larry Sharp in the past, and we've helped out a couple of his guys, putting some fine touches on them when we got them past the wrestling school, helping with their psychology. He is very reputable, and he will not screw you over. So when you get what you pay for with Larry Sharp, I would definitely recommend him. There's a couple of good training companies down in Central Florida, Georgia, WWA4. They put Heath Slater on the map, amongst other things. They're a good, reputable company. And I think Romans has passed on, so I don't think he's in business anymore. But those are the ones I can think of, definitely, that have put out a lot of people. Florida, Georgia, and the Northeast have a lot of really good schools, but make sure you do your research first.
Yeah, and the big one I would point out too is Booker T down here in Houston.
There you go. I didn't do a lot with Booker T. He had a school for a while. He closed it. He's reopened it. So I forgot about Booker T. But yeah, definitely him. But again, we can't overstress it enough. Do your research. Work on yourself first. Make sure you're getting exercise, because you're going to hurt for the first month. You're going to realize pain. Wrestling is not trampolines. It's plywood. You're going to hurt. But if you want it that badly, you'll make it through it. But make sure you're taking care of yourself. Get your acting classes and come in knowing nothing. You don't know who you are, what you want to be until you're there.
And one more, Jacob Pritchard's Wrestling Academy over there in Memphis. I mean, you got Glenn Jacobs. You have Bruce Pritchard's. Both of them are definitely reputable people. It's people you can learn from. Yes, you can have more than one trainer. Don't expect to be just trained by one person, because, I mean, people are going to teach you a certain way they know, and then you may go somewhere else and learn something different. That's a big thing, too. travel. Do not be afraid to travel.
Yeah, when I wrestled up in Colorado, everybody was trained by the same person and all the matches looked the same. And when I came in from Texas, they didn't know what to do with me because they were so used to only working around each other that I had to basically reteach all of Colorado how to wrestle. Because almost everybody worked the exact same style.
And that's our episode here, Volume 1. That is on schools here. Our next episode will actually be on social media and advertising.
Yes, because you have to realize you are an independent promoter, you are an independent contractor, so you have to get yourself out there to before you can get contract to work on those wrestling shows, you have to promote yourself so somebody actually cares about who you are. If nobody cares who you are, you don't get booked.
Exactly. And we're going to get into that next episode. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. If you can, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We are definitely trying to get our voices out there. We want to help the wrestling business. We're tired of seeing it either torn down or being the way it is on national television.
Yes, and one of the ways to fix that is to start bringing in guys that have lots of talent, well-rounded talent, not one-dimensional talent because they're 7 foot tall and they don't know what they're doing.
That's right. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem, saying thanks for listening. We hope we taught somebody something. We hope we've made 2 or 3 people out there thinking about it, make the right call, and make the correct call on how to prepare yourself for your wrestling future.
And we'll see you next week. And we're out.